Hey everyone, welcome back to Cindy's Culinary Corner. We are celebrating Thanksgiving, and with that being the case, I wanted to share two Thanksgiving side dishes for those of you out there that may have some vegetarians coming to your holiday party. Now, we're tired of just having salad as a side dish, y'all. We need to be creative. So I came up with two warm dishes that I know you all will enjoy. Stay tuned. Alrighty guys, we're gonna start with dish one, which is our warm quinoa and Brussels sprouts salad. Now the ingredients that we're using today is a cup of quinoa, some bone broth, because we wanna add flavor to our quinoa. You can use water if you like, but this makes it easy to add flavor. We have some chili pepper flakes, some salt, and for the Brussels sprouts, we're going to saute it up with some shallots and some minced garlic and a pinch of salt. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with our quinoa. Now, making quinoa is like making rice. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So, to all my people out there who don't measure, that's very great. Like my mom, she doesn't measure. Like she looks, she knows how much to use. For me, it's a hit or miss, so I just use these tools, okay? So we're gonna put 2 cups of the bone broth, and we're going to add in the quinoa, and then we're gonna let it reduce. The reason why we're doing this first is because the quinoa can take about 20 to 25 minutes to cook, and the Brussels sprouts honestly takes a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and add that and stir it in. Now, once we have all of the quinoa inside of our pot, we're going to go ahead and bring it up to a aggressive boil. So that would be about a medium-high heat. And we're going to let it come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to reduce it and let it simmer. So what I actually want to do, guys, is switch sides because I want the quinoa to be cooking on the back end. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring that back burner to the heat that I need. And make sure to keep an eye on it because once you cover a pot, things can overflow. So I'm going to keep that open about this way. And then as it comes to a boil, like I said, we're going to bring it down. So this is the pan that we're using for our Brussels sprouts. Now, Brussels sprouts have become one of my favorite things to add to my dishes, especially with shredded chicken, because it's quick and easy. It's not as thick as kale, and it does remind me of romaine lettuce looking at it. But the thing about it, it's a little bitter, but it's very easy to season. So that's why it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to add some olive oil to the pan. It's already warming up. And we're going to go ahead and cook our shallots first. All right, so as we're cooking down our shallots, we're just gonna soften them up a bit, making sure not to burn it because it's very easy, being that I did dice it up. I'm gonna soften that up, and while that's softening up, I'm gonna check on our quinoa, which is coming to a nice boil. I'm gonna do a couple pinches of salt. And I'm gonna go ahead and add our chili pepper flakes to our quinoa in the back. And we're going to stir. Now, see that our shallots are browning up. I'm gonna go ahead and add our Brussels sprouts to the mix. Gonna go ahead and just toss that up a bit. and bring this down to medium-low heat. So we're just going to let it soften up. And while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and pour in my garlic. I'm just going to toss it around and just let it cook down. So because the Brussels sprouts are raw Brussels sprouts, you know you want to layer with flavor. So we have, this is going to be mixed together. I'm going to put our Brussels sprouts with our cooked quinoa, but we want to make sure that the Brussels sprouts have flavor or it's going to just taste off. So because I put salt within the quinoa mixture, there isn't too much that I need to add to the Brussels sprouts, but we can't leave it naked. Now we're just gonna let this cook. As you can see, it's starting to glisten, so you know that the oil is covering everything and it's starting to wilt down, so it is cooking. And we have the quinoa in the back that is boiling, so we're gonna let that get into a high boil. So we're gonna leave it on high, and we're gonna bring the Brussels sprouts down to low medium, and then we're gonna just let these two cook. Once the quinoa is cooked and the Brussels sprouts are cooked, I'm going to mix everything together and put it in our casserole dish. Alrighty guys, so here you have it. It is done. This is the warm quinoa salad, guys. It's very tasty, okay, and it's very easy to make. Honestly, less than 30 minutes. So I just want to go ahead and put some in a bowl, and then we're going to give it a taste test. Now, what I realized is that once you mix the quinoa with the Brussels sprouts, you may not get all of the Brussels sprouts on top if you're someone like me that's like, you know, super stickler when it comes to plating. Just have some leftover Brussels and just sprinkle it on top to make it look pretty. So there it is. It's finished. Grab some of these here and put it on top right there. There you have it. It's done. It's pretty. It's tasty. Thank you. Let's get into the next dish. Alrighty, everyone, we're getting into the second side dish, which is my roasted cauliflower steaks. I tell you, your vegetarian friends are going to be impressed. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, for the cauliflower steaks, the star of the dish is the cauliflower, of course. You want to make sure that you are keeping the stem in place and just removing the leaves, because once it comes time to cut this cauliflower into inch thick pieces, it's going to be difficult and it's going to fall apart. So leave this intact and just cut the leaves off, just like that. So we're just going to remove all the leaves. Okay, let's get into making our cauliflower steaks that we're going to roast in the oven. Now, cauliflower is a friend slash cousin, I don't know what you want to call it, to broccoli. It's one of my favorite vegetables to have. And instead of just going ahead and sauteing it, putting some veggies, spices on it, I decided, you know what, let's make something beautiful. And why not cut this into steaks? Now, I made a couple mistakes before. When making the cauliflower, and in order to get steak pieces, you're going to have to keep the stem intact, because if you don't and you start cutting it, you know, into pieces, you're going to get little florets, and that's not what we want. We want nice 1/2 to 1 inch thick pieces of cauliflower that we're going to roast. So in order to get this to cook quicker in the oven, I went ahead and I steamed it for about 5 minutes just to soften it a bit. We're going to chop it up and we're going to put our butter mixture over it. For the mixture, we have some granulated garlic, granulated onion, Parmesan, paprika for smokiness and for color. We have some salt that we're just gonna drizzle on top or sprinkle on top, and some butter. So the first thing that we're gonna do is make the sauce. Now for the sauce, you just need a nice little saucepan here. Put it on medium heat. Get it nice and hot. And what we're gonna do is melt the butter down first. And we're gonna let the butter melt. As the butter is melting, we're gonna add the dry spices in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle. This is about 2 tablespoons of powder, onion powder, and garlic powder. I'm gonna go ahead and stir. I'm gonna just let that melt down. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We're getting what we want. And keep your eye on the heat because you don't want to burn your butter. Because if you burn your butter, it's not going to taste good. And you got to start all over. We don't have time for that. I'm going to put in about a tablespoon. So this is just about half of this, of the paprika. We're just going to stir that. Look at that bright, bold red color. That's what we're looking for, because the cauliflower, being that it's white, provides a nice little canvas for us to make our food pop. So we have the butter melted down. Just gonna turn it off and put it in the middle. Perfect. Now we're gonna go ahead and leave the sauce on the side, and we're gonna cut the cauliflower into some thick 1-inch pieces. Once I'm done cutting that, I'm gonna show you all how we're gonna put it in the oven. Okay guys, I have cut up our cauliflower into some 1-inch thick pieces. As you can see, a couple of them did not make it, but we're still gonna use it. Now, I'm going to take our butter mixture that we have here, and we're just going to coat it on top of the steaks. And you're just gonna drizzle it all around. Now, once we're done coating this, we're gonna put it in the oven and set it to broil. The reason why we're setting it to broil is because I've already partially cooked the cauliflower, so it's not as dense anymore. So it won't take that long to cook. And we got our little baby pieces over here, our little florets. They did not survive, but they're still useful. Nothing goes to waste. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and just drizzle, because I just wanted to make sure that we had enough sauce to go around. Very, very beautiful. I know, guys. Such a bright orange color because of our paprika that we put in there. And the last thing that we're going to add is going to be a drizzle. I don't know why I like saying drizzle. A sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. And that's our last friend. Just gonna get every little morsel covered here. Perfecto. All right. Put this off to the side. Now, you can at this point put a little bit of salt. The reason why I'm literally sprinkling a little bit of salt is because we're going to put our cheese on top of there, and we do not want to have a salty mess. We know that cheese has a lot of salt, depending on the type of cheese that you're using. This one here is Parmesan. Got some shredded Parmesan here, and a little bit for you, and a little bit for the babies in the back. One more. Nice little layer. I know I mentioned earlier that cheese doesn't agree with me, but that doesn't mean that I stop eating it. So you just gotta moderate. All right, now that we have this all covered and our cheese is coated, it's ready to go into the oven. We're gonna put this in the oven for about 15 minutes or until your cheese is golden brown. Once we're done, we're gonna take it out and show you the finished product. Okay, everyone, our cauliflower is done. I went ahead and plated it on our dish here. And as you can see, it's bright and bold in color with our nice sauce and our cheese that's melted down. This is a nice dish to add to your Thanksgiving table. Your veggie friends will love you for it. Now, you guys, let me know how things turn out. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a good time with your loved ones. See you next time.